Hey guys, welcome to CrushCarb, where we crush carbs, not flavors. You know those warm, cheesy, garlicky Red Lobster biscuits that just melt in your mouth? I grew up absolutely loving them. I would go to Red Lobster just for those biscuits. Since I've been eating low carb and following a healthy diet, I wanted to recreate that same flavor right at home, and that too without the guilt. These biscuits hit every note. They're buttery, cheesy, packed with flavor, and they're super easy to make. So today, I'm going to show you how to make low-carb garlic cheddar biscuits right at home that taste just like Red Lobster so that you don't have to go to Red Lobster ever again for these biscuits. So let's get started. So we're going to start off working with our dry ingredients first. So I have here in a bowl 1.5 cup of blanched almond flour. Whenever you're cooking or baking with almond flour, you always want to use the blanched version. So to this, I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Really crucial because your biscuits will not rise without baking powder. And then we cannot have garlic cheddar biscuits without garlic powder. So I have here 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. This is the granulated garlic powder. I do want to mention that because this gives a lot more flavor than the regular version. So always use the granulated garlic powder when you really want to pull out the garlic flavor. And then I'm going to be adding 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're not adding too much salt here because remember, we're going to be adding cheddar cheese in these garlic cheddar biscuits, and cheese has salt as well, so just need 1/4 teaspoon, not too much. And so now you just want to whisk up all these dry ingredients. Just want to make sure you're getting rid of all the lumps of the almond flour. All right. I got all our dry ingredients mixed together. So I have here 1.5 cup of butter. So I have cut this up into cubes. It's very important that your butter is cold, okay? So I do want to mention, if you do use plant-based butter, which you can for this recipe, that's absolutely fine. You want to make sure that your butter is really hard. So for that, I suggest you put it in the freezer because plant-based butter are usually soft. So you want to make sure that you put it in the freezer for like a couple of minutes, make sure it gets nice and hard. So you have to make sure you use the sticks for the plant-based butter and not the ones that come in the tub. So I'm actually using plant-based butter as well because it is lesser amount of fat for me. But it's up to you. You can use regular butter or the plant-based butter. So I'm going to be adding the butter into our dry ingredients here. So you can use a pastry cutter or you can use a fork. It doesn't matter. You really just want to break up the butter into smaller pieces so it looks like the size of a pea. Okay, so you don't want to mash it now. Okay, you just want to incorporate it into the dry ingredients and get it into small little pieces. And that's why I said it's very important that if you're using plant-based butter, you want to make sure that it is really hard, because otherwise, if it's soft, then it'll become like a spread, right? And you're not going to be able to get those lumps and those pieces of butter in your mixture. If you like, you can also use your hands if you think that's easier. It's totally up to you. You just want to make sure that you're not making the butter a spread. Alrighty, so we have, looks like a crumble just like that. And so at this point, I'm going to be adding cheese as well. So I have here 1/3 cup of cheddar cheese. So cheddar cheese is really crucial for this, of course, if you're making garlic cheddar biscuits. And we're going to mix this in the same way like we were just with the butter. You want to make sure that you're not mashing the butter, okay? You want to leave it in those crumbs because you really want to have a crumble here. And so now we're going to be working with our eggs. So we have to have eggs here because, of course, if you're working with almond flour, you've got to have something to help bind that almond flour, so you need eggs. So I have here 2 large eggs, and we're going to be lightly beating this up in a separate bowl, and then we're going to be adding that mixture into our crumbling mixture we have here. All right, and we're going to be adding this mixture to our dry mixture we have here. And so now I just want to mix in the eggs with our mixture we have here. You just want to mix it until you get a dough to form. Okay, you do not want to over mix, so be careful on that. Alrighty, so we got our dough here. So look at that. That's exactly what you're aiming for. And so now to help get that flakiness, we're going to be forming this dough into a rectangle. So we're going to lightly flatten it up so we get the shape of a rectangle, and then we're just going to fold it like 2 or 3 times just so we can try to get that flakiness. I will tell you though that this does help in making your biscuits, but you're not going to get that real flakiness that you get in regular biscuits, right? I mean, come on, we're working with almond flour. It's not the same as working with all-purpose flour, but we're still gonna get that same flavor like the Red Lobster biscuits, and it's still gonna be nice and fluffy, and gonna have those rustic, crispy edges, just like we get with the regular biscuits. So I'm going to just lightly flatten it up in here. You can put it into a baking pan right now, it doesn't matter. You just want to flatten it out a little bit, right? And then you just want to fold it up. It doesn't necessarily need to be in a perfect rectangular shape. I'm going to give it one fold, and then you're going to flatten it out again, and then you're going to give it another fold. Just repeat that step 2 or 3 times. Alrighty, so I did like 2 folds here with my batter, and so now it's very important that we put our batter in the refrigerator for at least 15 to 20 minutes. You really want your batter to be cold. So I'm going to be putting in the batter for about 20 minutes in the refrigerator, and then we're going to be ready to bake these. Alright, so I took out the batter out of the refrigerator, so I kept it in the fridge for 20 minutes. Really just want to have a cold batter because we're trying to make that flakiness that we see in those regular biscuits that we eat out of all-purpose flour. So of course, you're not going to get the same thing, right? But we're really trying to get that same flavor and still trying to pull out that flakiness. So what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to scoop out some of the batter just so we can form our biscuits, and then we're going to put them in the oven to bake. So I have here a cookie scoop. You don't have to use a cookie scoop. You can also just use a spoon. But you really want to make sure that you're not trying to form like a ball, right? You don't want to have like a perfect shape, a dough, right? So we're not making cookies here. So what we are really just doing is we want to have that rustic look like we usually see in biscuits. So I'm just going to grab small amount and throw it just like that. And I'm literally going to leave it just like that. It's up to you on the size. I like to have some mini biscuits because they're kind of like bite size, but it's up to you. You can make large biscuits, totally up to you. All right, and our last scoop. And there we are. And so now all we have to do is throw this in the oven and bake it at 350 degrees for 15 to 18 minutes until it gets nicely golden brown. So I already have my oven preheated, so I'm just going to throw this right in the oven. So our timer is off, so I'm going to take a look at our biscuits. I did it for 15 minutes, and then I give it another 2 minutes to get it nice and golden brown on the top, and oh my goodness. Look at that. These look super delicious. Look how nicely golden brown they are. Look at the rustic look. That's what I love about these biscuits. That's exactly what I love about the biscuits, like how they look so rustic. Oh my gosh, this looks super delicious. One more thing I want to do here to make these more delicious is I am going to be putting on a topping that I have made here. So this is just melted butter with some garlic powder, about half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and probably about half a tablespoon of butter, and with some dried parsley. And so I'm just going to brush these on top of the biscuits while they're warm, so we can get that nice garlic buttery flavor. Oh my gosh, my mouth is already watery. And the last one. All right. Oh my gosh, these look super delicious. Just look how delicious these look, and these are so quick and easy to make. Can't believe these are low carb. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to taste these. I'm gonna dive right in. Oh my god, just look Look at the rustic look of this. That's what I love about biscuits, right? That's what you really want to have out of biscuits. Oh my gosh. The cheese. Oh my goodness. Smells so good. And these taste so good warm. So you should definitely enjoy it warmed up. Oh my gosh. I'm going to try this right now. Mmm. Mmm. As you can see, you don't see those layers like we see in regular biscuits using all-purpose flour. Because of course, almond flour is different in texture compared to all-purpose flour. But the flavor, just like Red Lobster biscuits. So delicious. I can pull out one of my favorites I enjoyed growing up, and so you guys can too. If you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CrushCarb. Try it out and let me know in the comments below how you liked it. So until next time, let's keep cooking, experimenting, and as always, let's keep crushing carbs.